It's one thing when people have bad things to say about you or your people or your kind or people like you. People can talk all they want to talk. If it's not true, it's cool. You're not bothered. But when you have those among you that makes it true, it can be embarrassing as hell. As you all know, the immigration situation in the United States of America right now is tumultuous to say the least. Donald Trump is on a bender trying to get as many so-called illegal immigrants out of the country. He also recently took away TPS, which is temporary protective status, from 520,000 Haitians, which means come April when it expires, they are going to be free game to be picked up by immigration authorities and deported back to Haiti. Y'all remember when Donald Trump said they're sending the worst of their kind to this country, and he called them shithole countries. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember how offended a lot of people were when he said shithole countries? They're sending their criminals, their rapists, their murderers, their etc. Everybody was offended. Well, this person right here did not make that age well. Well, it aged well, so to speak. So, a Haitian man has been charged in a North Carolina triple murder. And guess what? He was one that flew into the U.S. under Biden's migrant flights program. The migrant flights program that Biden had going on, a lot of people didn't even know about it. A lot of people only thinks they came in on foot, walking, crossing the border from Mexico into the U.S. When, in fact, Biden actually had flights, airplanes, that would go to these countries and load them up with people and bring those people to the U.S. Now, for those of you who are for immigration, that's a good deal, right? You can't say you entered the country illegally. The president of that country sent a plane for you. Here's one of them that got that opportunity, and this is what he did with it. Here goes the story. So a Haitian migrant is now charged with triple murder in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So far, he allegedly killed several members of his family last week. He had come to the U.S. as part of the former president's controversial migrant flights program, according to authorities. The Fayetteville Police Department said that 26-year-old Mackendy Darbose had been charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder for allegedly killing 77-year-old Beatrice Desir, as well as 13-year-old and a 4-year-old. He himself is 26. Police responded to a home about 9 a.m. on February 21st after receiving a report that a stabbing incident had occurred inside of a home. When officers arrived, they discovered 3 individuals suffering from stab wounds inside the house. 2 of those victims were juveniles, children, and the 3rd victim was an elderly woman later identified as Desir. I don't know what he had going on where he felt the need to stab to death a 77-year-old, she's almost 80, 13-year-old, which is a child, and a 4-year-old, which is a baby. Now, we can talk about mental health issues. We can talk about Biden sending those planes for people. And we can talk about those people not being vetted to get on that plane. I mean, you don't go to somebody's country and pick up their mentally ill, they're sociopathic, they're deranged, they're schizophrenic, and bring these people to the U.S., right, to live amongst American people. It's just not something that you do. And I'm thinking when that was done, they might have actually done just that. Because also, there has been proven, it's been proven that those flights brought in gang members, people who have been charged for murder. He's not the first one. People who have been charged for rape since they've been in the U.S. And this was the way they came into the U.S. A free ride under the Biden administration. It looks bad because most of the people who got that flight, they're not criminals. All they wanted to do was come to the U.S., escape poverty, escape war and turmoil in their country, and make a better life for themselves somewhere else, somewhere where they can thrive, somewhere where they can see their children and grandchildren grow and, get all these opportunities and become somebody and do something with themselves, so to speak. And instead of, but in the process, there are those in the numbers who just weren't right. And there was no vetting process to see who was what. A local ABC station in Raleigh, North Carolina, reported that authorities said that Darboz, he greeted the police at the door with blood on both of his hands, blood all over his face, and blood on his pants. See, the average person who just stabbed 3 family members or 3 people to death, including 2 children, they would not just walk to the door and greet the police. An elderly person and 2 children. It's not like you got involved with somebody equally your size and age, another 25, 26-year-old male, and y'all got into a scuffle over something, and you had to fight to defend yourself, and you ended up, it ended this way. It's going to be hard to explain a person who's almost 80 years old and 2 children, and why everybody. He greeted the police at the door, y'all. Hands covered in blood, face covered in blood, and blood all over his clothing. At the time of the stabbing, authorities said that there were 3 other children inside that home. So that house has 3 children. He killed 2, so that's 5 children. He himself and the 77-year-old. So that house was occupied by about 7 people at least. And there were 3 other children in the house that were not harmed. Authorities, or they probably ran and hid somewhere or ran out of the house while all this was going on. One of those, he's killing them. He's killing them. Oh my God, escape, get away, run. Authorities also said that surveillance footage shows Darboz walking around in a circle with a knife. And during a preliminary investigation, investigators located the knife with blood on it in his room in the house. Darboz was arrested at the scene as he surrendered, and he is currently being held at the Cumberland County Detention Center without a bond. Again, this comes at a time when Donald Trump is not playing. So, of course, a lot of people are going to say, you know what, don't even give him prison time. So American taxpayers have to pick that tab up and deal with that. Send his ass straight back to Haiti. Let Haiti deal with that. Because obviously you picked up a problem from Haiti, and that problem manifested here in the U.S. But according to the law, he killed people in the U.S., so he is going to be charged for murder under U.S. laws, and he's going to be imprisoned in the U.S. He'll probably end up never getting out of prison again, because this was a triple murder, which included 2 children. So he's probably going to be in prison in the U.S. for the rest of his life. Think about that part. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement told news media houses that Darboz had flown into the U.S. in July 2024. He just got here. He just got to the U.S. So it goes back to what I was saying. This person might have been mentally disturbed, deranged in some way, probably suffering from hearing voices in his head, schizophrenia, something like that. You know, and I'm not being, I don't want anybody to take this as funny or joke or whatever, but because it's an illness, and we spoke about mental health recently on the same platform at SouFLoTV. It can happen to anybody. Look at the age that he is at. As I've told my audience before, which I learned while studying abnormal psychology at the university, I was taught that this is within the age range when mental health issues will manifest the most, come to a peak the most. It will show itself. And this is when people would start to act up because they're going through episodes. Yes, it happens earlier sometimes. Yes, it happens later sometimes. But more frequently across the board in human beings, this is when that starts to really happen. And he came in just in 2024 in July. We're not even in July of 2025 yet. So he hasn't even been in the U.S. for a full year yet. And he already did a triple murder. Damn. He came in under this Biden program that was called the Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela Initiative, or the CHNV is what it was called. Darbos is his name. Darbos also does not speak English, according to ICE personnel. And they interviewed him, and his interview had to be conducted in Creole. He does not speak a lick of English. He is in police custody at the moment, but ICE has also lodged a detainer on him. So, immigration hold, in other words. So the police can process him, but ICE wants to get their hands on him also. The controversial CHNV program, which was implemented under the Biden administration in 2022, it initially allowed for asylum seekers in Venezuela to be paroled into the United States for up to 2 years if they had a person in the country who would agree to financially support them. Well, under the Trump administration, they found out that a lot of these people doctored up fake documents, as in fake sponsors. When they went back and checked in the database, there were sponsors who were sponsoring 20 different people and claiming to be somebody else here, somebody else there. And, you know, there were just things in it that made them realize the program had a fault in it. Well, Cuba, Haiti, and Nicaragua, they were added to the list of countries in a program that was supported in 2023. Now, with the program, so initially this was just for Venezuela. And then in 2023, they added Cuba, Haiti, and Nicaragua into that program, with the program allowing for 30,000 people per month for the 4 countries to enter the United States of America. Did you hear that number? 30,000 per month from each country was allowed to enter the United States of America. 30,000 from Nicaragua, 30,000 from Venezuela, 30,000 from Cuba, 30,000 from Haiti per month under that Biden program. Listen, I'm all for immigration, and I'm super sensitive to the immigrant community as a seed of immigrant and a immigrant myself. But you're flying people 30,000 a month from 4 different countries. That's 120,000 people a month. Now, while the Biden administration used to big up the program, touted the program as a success for reducing the number of individuals that were attempting to illegally cross the southern border by land, it did not slow the number of total immigrants who were entering the country, with CHNV program beneficiaries instead being mandated to travel by air to the U.S. airport before being paroled into the country. These are the same people who Donald Trump now says they have to go. So my other video that's talking about what's going on as far as Donald Trump trying to get more people deported, these are the people that he has now pinpointed as people that have to leave the country, right? Being paroled into the country. We know of parole as when somebody is leaving prison. But in this situation, parole means they were flown here or they walked across the border and then somebody stopped them at some checkpoint. They documented them, as in took their descriptive characteristics, age, birth, place of birth, name, etc., took a picture of them for identification purposes, probably collected some biometrics, and gave them a date to report. Like I've said a million times before, they would tell them the 1st and the 15th of every month, you should report to XYZ location. That's how they were supposed to keep track of them. And then, while they kept doing that, they would apply for asylum and their case would enter into the long line of cases that need to be seen in immigration courts, and they would just have to keep reporting the 1st and the 15th until eventually their case would be called up. It's called being paroled into the country. Those are the people who Donald Trump said, if you are paroled into the country and you have no papers in process for asylum, you are fair game to be deported. ICE can pick you up, get you up out of here. Otherwise, what were you doing here? You have no legal status to be here. The program drew some very ugly scrutiny from a lot of people, right? After Jose Ibarra, which was a Venezuelan national, paroled into the U.S. under the CHNV in 2022, he attacked and he ultimately killed a University of Georgia student, Laken Riley. See? So I'm telling y'all that that's not the first that they've let somebody paroled into the country who has committed murder. There are others who have committed rape. There are others who came and got with the rest of their cliques and crews and formed their gangs, which they had back in their country, and started fighting in the streets of New York and other places for domination over territory. A lot of horror stories actually came out of this. It was just not turned up loud for everybody to see. We would see 1 and 2 here and there. Now, while President Donald Trump shut down the program by executive order on his first day in office, Donald Trump said the CHNV program that allows for them to fly these migrants in, 30,000 from each country per month, 120,000 people flown into the U.S. per month. We end that program today by executive order. So while Donald Trump ended that program on his first day in office, Luttrell pointed out that more than 50,000 people have been paroled into the U.S. at the airport of entry nationwide. So the program actually allowed up to 30,000 per country. Could have seen 120,000 per month. In total, though, it was only 50,000 that actually made it into the U.S. and were paroled into the U.S. at airports of entry all across the nation. Either way, it still wasn't a good look. So you have 50,000 people in the U.S. that have been paroled into the country, and of the 50,000, there are a few, like this Haitian dude right here, who just got charged for a triple murder. I don't know what the story behind why he did this. We're going to have to stay close, but I'm looking at him I'm thinking he has something super wrong with his mind. Like, I don't know if he might have been hearing voices, then he might have felt extra alienated in a country where he can't go outside and just talk to regular people, right? He is isolated, and he's probably in an area, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. There's not a large Haitian community there where he can socialize, etc. He's 26 years old. You want to be out, be among your peers, people who speak your language, doing the things that are customary to your culture, etc., etc. He doesn't have any of that around. He's in the boonies chilling, and it probably got to him, like exacerbated whatever it is he was already going through, whether it was paranoia, hearing voices, etc. We'll stay close to this story, though, as this story develops, to find out what exactly took place and why he felt the need to do a 77-year-old woman, a 13-year-old, and a 4-year-old child the way he did them. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. I'll catch you on the next video. In Jamaica, they have a saying, right? And it says, sorry for maga dog, them turn round bite you. Somebody felt sorry for this brother, flew him into the U.S. Well, he turned around and did a whole lot of biting. I'm out. Peace.